Let's move into Houston now, and we will talk to my friend Rafa, and we'll get all his views, Rafa style. Let's go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Meet the Human podcast number 4. And today we have the privilege to have my friend Rafa. Rafa from Houston. Rafa, how are you, Rafa?
I'm fantastic. Great morning, Luis. Great evening for you, I guess.
Yes, this is Hong Kong, and the other side of the screen is Houston, Texas. So Rafa is very kind. It is a bit early morning on a weekend, so thank you, Rafa, for,
That's
for
right.
the effort. And for me, it's a bit late night, but we are all set. So Rafa, just let us know a little bit of who you are, a little bit of your background, origins, your mini story for the audience to know you.
Who we are, who I am. Yeah, I think we all are a little bit of a mixture of nature and nurture, right? What we become is a mixture of those two things. Who I am, like you, I'm another Spaniard from Madrid as well, like you are, Luis.
Nice place.
Yeah, it's a great place. My football team is better than your football team, as you know. That's the only divergence that we have, probably. But yeah, I was born and raised in Madrid. We went to the same university, as you know, as well. We had the same degree, naval architecture. I guess a bit of my nature part of things is that I grew up very linked to the shipping world because of my family. So that path was kind of I don't know. I wouldn't say instated into me, but I grew up with that and I really liked it and I wanted to be an engineer. So I became a naval architect, and that triggered a lot of different events in my life. So I started basically working in Madrid, and then I transferred with Lloyd's Register. I transferred to the Canary Islands. That was a great place where you were also as well. Another similarity between you and me. And then subsequently, I started moving around the world in different positions within the organization. I went to the UK, China, New York, and eventually I ended up in Texas. Then subsequently, I changed companies. I now work for the corporate maritime registry of the administrator of the corporate maritime registries of the Marshall Islands, and which is basically for those who are not very familiar with the maritime world. The different countries issue what we call registrations for ships, which is basically like your car plate, but for vessels. So what we do is register vessels and ensure that they maintain the technical safety and seafarer living condition standards and working condition standards. So that is a little bit me in a nutshell. There's obviously more particularities, but we can delve into that as you wish.
Oh, thank you, Rafa. So now you are in Houston in this new role. How long are you in this new role there in Houston?
So I'm heading to over just a little bit 2.5 years in the Marshall Islands Registry, but I've been in Houston now 9 years. So it's a great place for those people who haven't visited Texas. They'll think it's very dry and it rains quite a bit, as people have seen recently from the news as well. So there's a lot of nice things here. So it's a great place.
I guess, yeah, I guess. Well, we both have been all around the world, and I guess we
Yeah.
we adjust. We make our life worth wherever we are. Actually, I've been in Texas a few times, and yeah, I feel it's a bit dry. But anyway, a bit dry for me. But okay, that's me. Uh, and can
But
you?
Luis, you know that we are a collection talking about who we are and nurture. You know that we're a collection of is about where you live or where you work at a certain time of your life. I call it a it's not just the place where you are. It's the place and the time in your life when you are in that place. So, and probably you will concur that it's not the same living in a place when you're 20 than when you're 40 or 50. There's different. People are going to enjoy more. They're going to enjoy more in different places in different times. I don't see it as a constant. Let's put it that way.
Very interesting point. Yeah, I think I concur with that. We do have a bit of a parallel nomad lives, you and I. Yes. Anyway,
That's
but
right.
this is about you,
Yeah.
Rafa. Can you tell us a little bit about your kind of role? Your what is your particular responsibilities within your current role?
Yes. So basically now I am very much into business development. Again, like you are, business development, client relations, commercial operations, like I've been for quite a while now, despite of our both technical backgrounds, which plays a very important. I think that the technical knowledge of shipping and the maritime world is very important to actually solve client problems and create client satisfaction. That's one of the things I live by. That you need to understand the problem, the actual problem that a client has in order to help them. And that's basically what I do on a daily basis. I try to help our clients with the various issues that they may face in the operation of their vessels, and try to find the best solutions for them. That's what I do.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Thank you very much. So the audience, have a bit of understanding who you are, a bit of your trajectory. Let's think about how you deal with your role in life day by day, because also apart from your role in your company, okay, you have another role, I guess, in life. Would you be able to describe other roles in your life apart from the one in the Marshall Islands?
So yeah, you're absolutely right. We all by default, when we're asked by our roles, we talk about our working life, but there's obviously a personal life behind that as well. It's just that I don't know. Many of us are often so absorbed by our working life, because at the end of the day, it's 8 hours at least of your day that you spend working, right? So by default, you go towards that. But then you have to come back home, and then and then you have a wife and kids and a dog, and you have to adopt that other role, the personal role of a father, a husband, and of course a son, a brother, and all the rest of it, right? And as you know very well, perhaps that role of being a son and a brother and all that is more complicated for people like you and me, because we are, in my case, like what, 8,000 kilometers away, probably same as you, from our hometown. So it's more difficult to keep those connections with the people that you're away from. In your personal family, in where you're based, I find it arguably a little bit easier, because that's what you do on a daily basis, and you come back to them when you're not traveling. That we travel both. We travel a lot as well. So yeah, those are I would say all the roles that we have to juggle, and many times they are conflicting, as we know.
And if you let's go into a little bit of a few questions I ask all my guests. At the beginning of my podcast, my adventure, I felt these questions are very big and serious, but actually I realized that everyone has a way to describe, a way to define. So I am really very curious to understand your definition of humanity. Give me your definition, Rafa.
You're reminding me of that podcast. I was like, "What is a woman?" So I probably could give you something similar to that to that definition. Whereas humanity is a collective
Is
of
that
human
recent?
beings.
Is that a recent podcast? I don't remember
Uh,
that podcast.
It's not a podcast. I think it's a documentary of. I think it's a Matt Walls documentary. Anyway, but he's he's like he keeps on asking that question to everybody. Where's a woman? So what is humanity? I would say that it's a collectivity of human beings, right? It's a collective of human beings. And probably now you'll ask, and then what is a human being? Right?
What is a human being?
There you go. There you go. Has to be that. So I think, can you define? We're getting a little bit philosophical here, but can you define something by its qualities, or its unique qualities, rather something that is unique to humans that is not? Because obviously, a human being is is a mammal, is an animal, but has some unique qualities that other animals don't have. And I think is I would say probably two unique qualities that other animals don't have, and is intelligence and empathy, right? Because and we have another unique thing that other animals don't have about those two qualities. I think is that we can use intelligence in very good ways and in very nasty ways. I don't think animals do that. They use their limited, or I don't know if we can describe it as intelligence, but they use it for a single purpose, which is their own survival. I don't think they're capable of that cruelty or that actually compassion and everything else that we have. So not only the quality of intelligence, but the way that we use it, I think is pretty interesting. It's pretty unique in life, say in life, whether it's animal or.
So you said, okay, so mainly what differentiates a human being from other beings, maybe you feel perhaps it is intelligence and empathy, you said.
Yeah, that's what I would say. You can feel what other people feel. I don't think a dolphin or a dog would be able to relate to what his other peer is going through at the moment. You know, they might have that instinct of rescuing someone, but they don't have that feeling of empathy. And that's my perception. I might be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But certainly intelligence is one of them. Depending on different levels of intelligence, and I know at some point you will touch artificial intelligence, which is another one. But at the different levels of intelligence, because obviously a dog is way more intelligent than a beetle, right, or an ant. We are the only one that's true intelligence and can apply that intelligence in different ways, I think. And I don't know if artificial intelligence will be able to apply it in those different ways. In other ways, oh, this is interesting. Applying the empathy concept to the intelligent approach.
We will explore that a little bit in the second half of this podcast as it's becoming a tradition. So staying on, okay, let's
Stay
stay on the human side of things for a little while. So intelligence and empathy. I guess you will. Are you brave enough to give me some examples of you yourself applying those two in your life?
Okay, so he's right, because of the way my personal choices in life have always gravitated, as you can see, business and client relations. I'm a people's person, right? So I am perhaps more empathetical. So my intelligence is used more in that ambient. So I feel more, or it's guided more towards the people element rather than the analytical element. It doesn't mean that I can now apply intelligence to analytics, which I do. You do. Every one of us does on a daily basis. We have to have a spreadsheet. We have to look at things. But I feel that my effort is more focused on the human aspect of things because of, I don't know, I guess that's my nature, not my nurture, right? So on a daily basis, how I do that, I apply it to try to keep people happy, right? So how can I apply that intelligence, finding a solution to make someone feel a relief that they had a problem and now they do not have that problem, right? Because that's what I do on a daily basis. And when I come back home, is arguably the same thing. It's like, what can I do that so people are happy? But that has a very big downside for me personally, because I'm so focused on that aspect of my emotional intelligence that, you know, it's inevitable that people are not going to be exactly the same as I am. So when you don't receive the same level of emotional intelligence, kind of lets you down a little bit. It's like I want I wouldn't feel cared as much as I care for people, if that makes sense, right? And that obviously triggers other stuff.
What kind of other stuff?
Well, expectations generate either satisfaction or disappointment. When somebody is disappointed about something, it's simply because expectations haven't been met. That's a reality, right? That's the only way you get upset about something is you expected something that did not happen, or you're very satisfied because your expectations were met. So when you are expecting something else and it doesn't happen, you leave a little bit. I'm not saying that I live in a constant state of disappointment, but it's like, oh wow, no, I was expecting somebody to say, hey, hi, how are you doing today, or whatever. No, whatever. But that is where I'm heading to. That triggers some other stuff. It's like you're always like, okay, fine. Until you meet someone that is like your same time. Like when I see you often in places, Luis, you're always so like, yeah. So you feel all of a sudden like, this is fantastic. You smile and you, you feel happy again, right? Does it make sense?
Yes. This is you, Rafa. It makes sense to me. Actually, I maybe know you too much, or maybe very much. So I understand what you're saying. It's very interesting to hear that you are focusing on those two aspects, intelligence and empathy. Can you tell me some life examples, not work examples, some other personal life examples, if you want, of empathy? How you are using your empathy, or how have you used it, and what impact has it produced? Do you have some little story to tell us?
Well, but so that in your personal life, I don't know how to tell you an example, because I think that's like a constant thing. You feel when the people that you love are down, or or they need something, or um, especially when you have a family, you're raising children and stuff like that. That's a very difficult balance, because you know you want to give them, to create that happiness in your kids, but at the same time you see that some of the things you do, and they're not going to be good for them. In other words, the syndrome of constant satisfaction. You feel that they're going to cry if you say, no, you can do this, or no, you're not going to have this, but it's the right thing. But at the same time, you're feeling like, okay, I'm doing this. Trust me, I feel that you're disappointed, you're really upset, you're crying, or whatever it is, but trust me, this is going to be good for you, right? So, but there's the moment that internally, like probably every parent in the world, you feel a little bit like, oh, damn it, let's give this little thing to a kid or whatever. So the impact that causes is sometimes, being too empathetical is not a good thing. That's where I was going with this example. And it happens with everything, not only with your family, with your friends, with everything. When you get them used to that, you used to the fact that you're always going to be the one that comes up, they're going to be there. The moment that you're not there, you're the bad guy. You are the. So I find it that I had that tendency, to answer your question, to do all those things in my life. That's my empathic approach. And then the moment that something like that doesn't happen, triggers other effects with other people that I've come across like that, to some of those in my life, and I don't think is really positive, because it creates the wrong expectation, and again, people get disappointed with you for no reason, just because they are used to you going over and beyond. And some of the examples in my life have happened when I've been, because same as you and I have been traveling, and inevitably things happen when you're away, and there's only so many things that you can do when you're not home there, right? Like when one of your parents dies and you're not there, and somebody else has to take care of things, and you're not there. So but then likewise, something happens and you just hop on a plane and go there to try to help someone. So is that difficult balance, I find it a very difficult balance.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So maybe okay. I'm going to push a little bit. I'm
Push
going to
the envelope.
push you a little bit more. So I say, okay, Rafa, as a human being, is a person that probably you understand intelligence and empathy are important, and you put them at play. So maybe some people will be able to understand, especially that you're empathetic. I think the people who know you well probably will agree with this. Can you give me more? Can you, if I am designing Rafa and as human values, and okay, I write down intelligence and empathy. Can you continue? Can you just give me a bit more descriptions of you and as a human?
As a human, no, of course I go on. We can get into morals or religious views and many other things. I mean, we can go in, and all those are, I think, interlinked with each other. I mean, when you ask me about what is a human, I could say, well, probably is the only life being that has a soul. What is a soul? And we can get into those values as well as a human, because I think morality, irrespective of whether you have religious views or not, I do think, again, things that can be used in the wrong way or in the right way. I think religious views in the world have been used in very nasty ways, still do in many places in the world. But inherently, religious views should be by the nature and the definition of them should be kind and good towards other human beings. So they should be really directly linked to morality, and morality is one of the things I abide by. Is like you have to do the right thing. Okay, you have to do the right thing, and again, you link the empathy is try to do the right thing without hurting other people, right? Because sometimes you're going to do the right thing, but some people are not going to be, you know. Because you like examples, and we go back to a little bit to work thing. It's and all of us have been through this when somebody has to be let go, and you have to let go of someone because it's actually the right thing that needs to happen, but your personal or your morality people how to go about that or what to do or when, and the empathy, again, personal circumstances of that person matter and matter a lot, right? Because he's a person, he's another human being, as you would say, Luis. So the right thing is going to do something, trigger something that is actually negative for some, or probably positive in the long run, but immediately is not going to be a good thing, and you're going to hurt someone, right? So those are the kind of conundrums I'm referring to.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for making the effort to expand a bit. Thank you. It's very interesting to hear that you bring the concept of soul into humanity. I am not sure if other alive beings have soul. I guess they do, but probably the way probably humans have their own one on their own kind, and actually you may make me think about for some other podcast, probably for some other guest, few questions related to soul, but that's not for you. Okay, that will be for another guest. Thank you for the trigger.
Yeah.
If a member of your family is this is another interesting question for you, Rafa. If a member of your family is here now, suddenly joins in, and if I ask that person the same question, tell me about Rafa's human values, what would you think their answer is?
I think probably they would agree. I mean, the only I was going to say the only one that would give you an eloquent response here is not going to be my 8-year-old. It's probably going to be my wife, and my wife will start saying, "Yeah, he does this, he does that, and all that." You know, we all know wives. You got one of your own, so you know how it works. But I mean, jokes aside, I think she would agree that I abide by those values, or I try to.
Yeah,
I
basically,
try to
it wasn't a
at least.
tricky.
And that's
It wasn't a tricky question. It
yeah.
wasn't a tricky question. It wasn't a question about they might say something totally different. Actually, what I wanted to come up with is would they add anything else, or would they?
Yeah, that was the joke I
simplify-
was saying. She would say something like, "Yeah, but he's very annoying, and he does this and he's that, and then he's never happy with
or
where I place things." Which, by the way, I kind of, when I said that when you care so much for things, you're expecting things to be done, call it perfectionist in some way. So she would probably allude to some of that, yeah, as well. But broadly speaking, as you were asking, I think, yeah, I think she would concur that I abide by, or I try. There's a better word. I think is a more important thing, that I really try to do the right thing. I do, like all of us, Luis. I don't think none of us does always the right thing. All of us commit a lot of mistakes continuously. I do personally, but I don't try it on purpose to commit mistakes. I try to
Yeah,
abide by the
well,
things I said.
I guess what is the definition of a right thing? Probably every
Well,
person
I
will
gave
have
you
his own
I gave you
definition.
my definition of the right thing, what I
Yeah.
think is in that context. So that's what I try to do in the context of what I think that is the right thing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, understand. So okay. So I guess fine. So you probably will be exercising these values often. I have seen you actually being like that often. So I know you do. Um, are you? Do you think you exercise your humanity on like? Are you conscious of you exercising your humanity, your human values? Do you do this on purpose sometimes? Have you got yourself being applying high humanity, or is
So
it
you know what?
something that actually just happens?
I think I don't I don't know if it's an age thing or something, but I think I've become a lot more self-aware, which triggers exactly the behavior that you're saying. That the more self-aware that you are, the more conscious that you are about how you apply everything that you're applying humanity to begin with, because you're human beings. So I think all those kind of characteristics that we were talking about kind of boost with self-awareness a lot more. It happens. I mean, I've noticed it in the last, at least, very least, 15 years or so. They have gone through the roof. And of course, some more fundamental questions about, we could get back into the soul and all that, about the human, the, the the reason for humanity to exist, and why are we here, where do we go, where do we come from, and all the rest of those fundamental questions have become a lot more prevalent in my regular thinking and deliberation processes, a lot more.
Oh,
I don't think
good.
when I was probably 30 years old, 20 years, I was thinking about completely different things, and all these things, all this perspective, and I believe is going to be even more in the coming years.
You mean
As,
for you
as
personally or in general?
for me personally, because I've seen the evolution. I don't know if I cannot tell. Maybe you can tell me if it happens to you as well, but um, it's happened to me, and it keeps on happening, accelerated. I become a lot more self-aware of many different things.
Mm.
Everything, I think.
Hmm. Um, I know sometimes I know I gave you a little bit of a brief to prepare this podcast, and I am not asking you the questions on the brief too much.
Doesn't matter. This feels like one of
But
my
I
good
am asking
podcasts.
some. But one of the questions on my brief, which I haven't asked anybody yet, because it's so heavy, is related to what you just you're reflecting now. Is so. What is the purpose of being here? What is are you do you want to volunteer some answer to this question, even if it is generic, not just for yourself?
So to a specific question. To be frank, Luis, your briefs. I learned a long time ago. This is part of my self-awareness process. Is that I don't have to read your briefs anymore. I know you very well, so our conversations flow in a natural way. So, what is specific question you want me? Sorry.
What is the purpose of our existence here? Why humans
Oh,
are what is
yeah.
our role here? What role do we play?
Yes, I brought that one up. Well, I think it's a continuous. We're getting into a mix of religious views, and again, we go always to nature and nurture. We as you know, in Spain, probably our cultural heritage is more on the Christian side, but there's some other things that I find quite interesting on that give better answers to those questions. I think if you see it as a continuous, that it's a recurrent thing. So we keep on coming back here until we reach that state of perfection, which is more common to other, Asian religious point of views or Indian. I think it gives a more logical explanation of purpose and equality as well, and justice, because if you think about, okay, let's assume for a second that you have a religious view, that you think that this is not the end, this is not the beginning. Let's assume that, because there's many viewers of yours that are not going to feel that that is the case. But let's assume that for a second. If that would be the case, there's no justice feeling about the fact that you only have one shot and you may be extremely lucky. You could be Jeff Bezos, or you could be unfortunately living in a favela in Brazil, right? And that's your only shot in life and your only opportunities. You don't start from, that is not, in my view, what we call a justice system for humanity, right? So I think the fact that these are continuous and then you get multiple shots at the same game until you get it right reflects a more justice system for all of us. And that gives more of an explanation. Does it make sense?
Yeah. Yes. This,
I'm, do-
as I always say to
I'm,
people, this is.
I
I think
didn't ask if
every
you
person
agree. I said if it makes sense what I'm saying.
makes sense. Makes
Before.
sense. Makes sense. Yes.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Okay.
One every person, one person, one
Yeah, it's
answer.
different.
Actually, I guess.
Yeah.
So thank you for taking the question. It's a very heavy one, but yeah,
Yeah. No,
sometimes
it's
we need to maybe need to think about it. Let's now quickly move into the last part of our podcast. Let's talk about artificial intelligence a little bit, because this is something I'm so interested about. So we've been talking about humanity from your point of view. You reflected on some characteristics of humans. Intelligence and empathy defines humans very much in your case, and you then also expand a little bit on actually having a soul, and a soul that maybe keeps existing beyond, maybe, and then you also mentioned that that is related to some kind of morality that is about doing the right thing, and we are also thinking about, okay, what does it mean? And basically it's about um, uh, mm, avoid hurting others. So I'm just replaying a little bit, trying to refresh the core of what you have said. So in that context of humanity, now we are living, and we will live more and more with this artificial intelligence. So intelligence again. Now intelligence, which is not, well, is it not human? Is it made by humans? Probably is. It's artificial, but just give me your take about artificial intelligence moving forward, in the interplay with humanity.
So this is really interesting because I started defining humans as the only beings that are capable of having intelligence, or intelligence in the sense that we are both or all of us thinking, right? Now you throw in artificial intelligence, which by the very same definition is intelligence, right? But then the machine that applies it is not a life form, right? So therefore, my original definition still stands because we're the only intelligent life form, right? Now, I did say something else that is very, very important in the context of your question. And I I don't think it may be the case, but I don't think that machines will be capable of having that empathetical approach or lack of empathetical approach in a cruel application of intelligence, because I think is unique to humans the way that we can be compassionate or we can be very cruel and inhumane in that respect. Yeah, if you think about it, we call it inhumane when people do horrible things like the Holocaust or something like that. It's inhumane, but that is actually a very humane, if you think, way of acting. Only human beings are capable of acting like that. That's one of the big paradox. Will machines be able to do that? I mean, we've all seen the Terminator, amazing movie. I think most of the things that we're seeing and will be seeing, people should really pay attention to the premises and the plot of that movie, 1984, I think it was, or something like that. Amazing.
Yeah.
Um, and it's not that Terminator he doesn't feel good about thing or bad about anything. Doesn't have any empathetical approach to it. It's just artificial intelligence. It will do what is asked to be done, right? So it's down to humans to decide how to use artificial intelligence. Really, that's my view on it. Is you can apply it in a very nasty way, like in the Terminator, or you can apply it in a very good way. Now, by the very nature of humans, as we were discussing, Luis, I think humans have this tendency of doing those very inhumane things. So it could well be the Terminator. It could be used for all these nefarious purposes that humanity has done over and over throughout history. So do I have concerns? I have very serious concerns. It could be a very good thing that could help us with our daily lives and jobs and everything else and make life a lot better for many people. But equally, it could be used in a very, very nasty way and end up exactly in the Terminator. It could.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I see it.
Mm-hmm. And do you think I'm asking this question now to maybe I may ask this question again to all my guests. It came up in our first podcast, and it was the idea of should we teach human values to artificial intelligence? Should we, maybe in your case, idea of should we make them have full human empathy? Should we?
Well, there's a very interesting question because I think the answer is, of course, we should, but is it possible is a better question. Because the moment, if we go back again to the Terminator, that he becomes self-aware, if you remember when he becomes self-aware, was it Skynet? I don't know when. Is
Yes.
when that machine says, "Why do I have to do things for help these guys when I can help myself for my own purposes?" Is that going to happen? I don't know. Now there's other questions. Is that you establish regulatory, legally or whatever, every form of artificial intelligence has to be programmed in that way that you're describing. I mean, for every law, there's 20 million people that disobey or purposely disobey the law, to bypass that law, doing something, you know, again, nefarious for their own purpose. There's a law about embezzling funds and all that. How many people in the US have been convicted of, embezzling 401k funds, pension schemes from other people, and they don't care about leaving them without anything. If you leave those people to program their own AI, how do you think they're going to use that AI? They're going to use it to their own purpose or their own non-empathetical purposes towards other human beings. You see where I'm coming from. So you can regulate these things. You can say, yeah, we have to use it that way, but I can guarantee you that it's going to be impossible. The better question is it possible? I don't think it's going to be possible, because for every law, there's a number of people that just basically break that law for their own personal benefit, and that happens continuously.
Mm-hmm. I see. Let me ask you the question that the previous guest asked me to ask the next one, which is something I always do. I will ask you later for you to formulate the question for me to ask the next guest. So the question I got for you, without that person knowing that it was you, obviously, was something about what do you do to be able to sleep well every night? I think that was about the kind of a question. How do you manage? What do you do to make sure that you sleep well?
Well, again, goes to the answer of trying too, because many times all of us have had some of those nights that you're not sleeping well because you know that something is not going how you wanted it to be, or you've done something wrong. So what you keep on doing is trying to abide by your moral compass. That's what I try to do. What I described in our previous in this conversation is that I try to do the right thing, and that gives me peace of mind. It's like if I've done this properly, then, or if I've tried to do this the best way possible, and I couldn't do it any other way for my mental sanity or survival purposes, then you're at peace that there's nothing else rightful that you could do. That's it. Now, sometimes that is not the case, but because as I said before, we all commit mistakes, we all do things wrong, and sometimes we choose to do wrong things. But then there's your conscience. Then you think about it, say, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have made the decision, or whatever it is. And that's what keeps you awake at night. That's what we all have, that little voice there, and it's like, oh no, this wasn't the right thing to do.
How many little voices do you have, Rafa? Do you have many or just one?
I have that one, and as I said, as I get older, self-aware is becoming more prevalent. It's like, dude, and I'm a perfectionist, that we established before. Like, no, this should have been done different, or we could have done this, we could have done something else. But let's eliminate the we approach here. This is not a job thing. It's about me. It's I should have done this, or I should have done something else. And that happens. That's happening to me, I would say, more in a more prevalent way than it used to before. I think when you are younger, you tend to find excuses for what you've done, whether it's the right thing or not, more consistently than when you start having a better view of getting older. Right? That's why I said before. I think it's an age thing. I think I said that. Yeah, I think it's an age thing.
Human, maybe it must be human evolution.
Yeah.
Human.
It must be. It must be.
Human
Yeah.
aged evolution, right?
Yeah.
discover through age. There must have been something positive of getting older, right? There must be some positives.
I actually see this as a positive. It gives me more kind of restless time, because you're all the time thinking about more variables and stuff. That's why I think I waste more time than I used to before. Because when I'm not working, I get out of work and I say, okay, I need my me time, and then you do like a crossword or something like that. I didn't used to do that before, because at the end of the day, you need to put at rest that kind of continuous thinking about you. You need to think about useless things, put it that way, because I'm not keeping you all the time in these deliberate, tough deliberation processes and all that. So I find myself with a lot more wasted, I would say in engineering, wasted heat, wasted energy in that respect.
Okay, Rafa, I think we are more or less coming to the end of our podcast. But before we finish, you
You're
have a
already
job
bored?
to do. You have a job to do.
Have I put you to sleep or no? Already?
No, I think it's good. No, I think you're good.
Good.
So your little job that everybody has. Please give me a question that you want me to ask my next guest, please.
A question that I would like you to ask your next guest.
Which obviously is related to the podcast main theme. Not very random.
I think we should delve more, and that would be a good opportunity for you, about those ethical or moral questions on artificial intelligence.
Uh-huh.
Do you think it is possible? No, that as you said, we can instigate that into the machine learning. Do you think it is possible to have only a benign outcome with artificial intelligence? Is there a real possible way that this could only be positive and productive for human mankind? Because that triggers another very important thought. If the answer is no, and I think right now my answer is no, as you know, that should trigger a lot more other questions about the advancement of the technology. But I leave it there.
Yes. Well, right now I think I have an idea who the next guest is. However, it might not be a heavy AI technician or
Doesn't matter. I'm no either. But
so yeah. Anyway, I will ask this question, but obviously, yeah, it would be okay. The answer probably, yeah, it would be a personal personal answers, which are very good answers. But okay, but Rafa, thank you very much. I think this is the end of our podcast. Do you want to say something? Anything else? Anything you want to say to just wrap it up?
No, I will only say that it's always a pleasure having a conversation with you. You didn't even podcast, Luis. This is the kind of conversations we used to have, and we've been having throughout all these years while you're in Asia and I'm in here, and in an evening time, and we have a call and discuss life. So it's felt very good, and I'm very proud to being able to contribute to your podcast. That's the only thing I would say.
Thank you, Rafa. Thank you, and I really appreciate you coming in. Also, early days for the podcast. I hope it grows and it could be valuable for the audience, which is the main purpose of this podcast. So, thank you, Rafa. Thank you so
I
much.
hope so too. I hope so too.
Thank you, and to all my all the viewers. So, thank you for being there. Thank you for subscribing if you are not subscribed yet. And next podcast will come very soon. So, thank you and goodbye.
Bye. Uno, dos, probando. Vamos a pasar
Okay,
bien, no te preocupes.
switching to English. Remember, this is an English podcast. Remember.
It's an English podcast. Yeah, all right.
Vamos a reír.
¿Ya estás con el gin tonic, ¿ok?
No, esto es agua.
Ya,
Agua.
bien.